Very good morning to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Shana, for your kind introduction. Professor Kapil Pereira, Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Mahana, the Conference Chair, Professor N.D. Gunawardena, and Professor Sarath Dasnayaka, the Director of ERU, Deans of Faculties, Heads of Departments, my dear lecturers, and my friends who will be presenting in this occasion, in this conference. The topic selected by me today is on Sri Lanka, from frontier to emerging. In these few minutes, I will be sharing some of my thoughts and ideas on how we can make use of data, analytics, technology, innovations in technology, and entrepreneurship in general in our quest to find growth. Are we really an emerging economy? What is an emerging economy? I've often heard of this quote or Sri Lanka being cited as an emerging economy. But are we really an emerging economy? In my quest to find an answer to this, I thought of looking at some economic data, some basic measurement. Let's take foreign direct investment, if we consider it as an indicator of capital inflows or investments to a country. Soon after the war, towards the end of the war, as well as after the war, post-war period, we've seen some gradual increase in the FDI, foreign direct investment inflows to Sri Lanka. In 2018, last year, we recorded about $2.1 billion worth of capital inflows. In absence of a good comparison, I shows Singapore. In 2017, Singapore has seen an FDI inflow of about $1.5 trillion of Singaporean dollars. That roughly translates to about $1.1 trillion. So you can see the stark comparison. This is the kind of potential that we could have achieved. So are we really an emerging economy or an emerging market? I call this an emerging economy. We are still trying to emerge ourselves into an emerging economy. Or very well known as the frontier market. MSCI, Morgan Stanley Capital International, conducts this classification of economies. They broadly categorize economies into three large groups or classes: developed economies, emerging economies, and frontier markets. So we fall into this frontier category. What are emerging markets? Emerging markets are economies that show certain characteristics of a developed market, but does not measure up to the world standards of being a developed country. Frontier market is a much smaller economy, much riskier, with much more illiquid capital. So we fall into this frontier market. So our quest, our endeavor is to achieve the development state. Before that, we need to first emerge ourselves as an emerging market. Sri Lanka has a diverse and rich natural resources, undoubtedly. But do we really have natural resources and human capital in abundance to make our country to have a competitive advantage over the global economy, over the global trade? Let's take a look at the number of human capital that we have in Sri Lanka. It's roughly about 9 million people, productive capability that we have in our labor force. Compare that to another frontier economy like Bangladesh. They have a labor force of about 60 million strong people. Take IT-enabled services sector, which is the sector that I'm coming from. In the IT-enabled services sector, the entire labor force pool in Sri Lanka is about just roughly 80,000 skilled employees. Compare that to India, it's 3.1 million. From an innovation point of view, where do we rank as Sri Lanka? The Global Innovation Index in 2018, we got ranked at the 88th position out of 126 countries. For comparison's sake, I took Vietnam, another frontier economy that is in the Pacific region, at the 45th position. Turkey, an emerging country, emerging market, in the 50th position. We no longer can play the quantity game. So we need to immerse ourselves as knowledge workers. We need to focus on moving high up in the value chain. We should focus more on value-added product innovations in services, and move towards the knowledge economy. Competition is now a global phenomenon. You are no longer immune, as a local business, you are no longer immune to the global pressures. Take this Sri Lankan ride-hailing company, now faced with fierce competition from a global giant in the Silicon Valley, with billions of dollars in their reserves raised through venture capital. On the flip side, the same challenges opens doors for Sri Lankan businesses to start exploring the world. Your distribution channels have wider scope. You have access to markets that you never even thought of. Supply chains are deeply integrated and goes far and wide across different nations. Airbus, the company headquartered out of Leiden, Netherlands, builds this A350 XWB model of the aircraft in 4 different sections, in 4 different plants spread throughout Europe. They fly out these big pieces of the puzzle to a city called Toulouse in France, and they assemble all this aircraft. An A350 is said to consist of over 3 million parts, sourced from all around the world, including Sri Lanka, if you can see in this visualization. Imagine the level of sophistication that they require in order to perform this business process or maintain the supply chain, procurement, and still deliver. This is high value engineering, hard engineering problems that they're solving. This is the largest vessel to be built by Sri Lanka. Just last week, this was launched or commissioned, the seals. This was built by Colombo Dockyard. This is 113 meters in length. It's known as the KDDI Cable Infinity, one of the sophisticated ships ever to be built by a Sri Lankan firm. Said to be equipped with one of the sophisticated one of the first diesel electric propulsion engines. This was a pivotal moment in the history of Sri Lanka's shipbuilding, because now we have leverage over sophisticated engineering, and we can now secure business and service much challenging work. With the emergence of cloud computing, IT's information technology space has significantly grown. Gone are the days where you had to wait for weeks and months to procure hundreds and thousands of rupees worth of equipment, servers, in order to get your information technology needs solved. With cloud computing, you have access to enormous amounts of computing and storage power at your fingertips. Literally in minutes, you can make use of these technologies. Technology, with the cloud computing, technology has become more of a commodity. It's like a utility, just like electricity. It's available. It's available on the internet. This has lowered the barriers to entry into technology. Before, even the smallest startup, even a country like Sri Lanka, access to advancements in the latest technology is really easy. Data is the new gold, as the Vice Chancellor alluded to. Data is the new power. Insights derived from data gives its true value or its true currency. A lot of digital native companies nowadays, from the likes of Facebooks to Amazons to YouTubes to everybody who have a digital native footprint, are using data and analytics to their advantage. That is their power. Data is power. Data is their competitive advantage. So how can Sri Lankan traditional businesses, state-owned enterprises, government, can make use of this power? We need to transform ourselves into adopting digital technologies, embracing analytics, and use it as for your competitive advantage. In technology space, there is a lot of jargon. We had a huge hype about big data somewhere between 2005 and 2015, purely pushed by the advent of the cloud computing. Now, machine learning has taken center stage. Machine learning is talked about significantly. Amidst all this jargon, we should not reduce these jargon words as simply hype. We should look beneath, we should look deeper and see what this provides us as a nation to further our business. Machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. It allows these machine learning programs are able to adapt and learn itself with the data. The more data that you provide it, the better it learns. So this is the new world. This has paved way for many innovations using machine learning. Everything from self-driving cars, from face recognition in your social media, to spam filters in your email boxes. Machine learning has become ubiquitous. This is the next advancement in the data analytics, next to big data. Can we use data analytics in governance? I borrowed this slide from Professor Rohan Samarasekera's presentation. On the left side of the map, it plots the origins of people traveling to port. If you can see, most of the people who travel to port are actually from the coastal areas, whereas people who travel to Borel area are actually originating from the surrounding areas. This kind of data, this kind of insight was never even imaginable back in the days. This is impossible to do with traditional surveys. These insights have been derived from mobile data. Whenever you make a call, there's a record that goes into a log called call data records. So your telecommunication providers have this data record. So by way of analyzing that data, so we have been able to generate insight, sophisticated insight as these. Imagine the power that this can provide to you to make better data-driven decisions from a governance point of view. Technology is penetrating into areas which we haven't seen technology in much application. Finance is one, FinTech. Finance means technology. The banking industry has never even thought of this peer-to-peer lending. So data analytics has paved the way, has made it possible to mitigate risks, assess risks on the fly of lenders and borrowers, and it's like a social network for lending. Companies like Helios is actually a local Sri Lankan peer-to-peer lender. Cryptocurrencies. These are virtual currencies that are in prevalence. which we have seen global adoption. Through crowdfunding platforms, you are raising capital outside of capital, the standard capital markets, and outside of traditional debt markets. Take robo-advisors. Intelligent algorithms are now making decisions on behalf of you, investment decisions on behalf of you. Just last week, Facebook unveiled this news about of a consortium called Libra. That's an effort to create a global digital currency, a cryptocurrency. As you can see, the logos around that consortium, you can see lots of non-technology companies, everything from Visa to Master, as well as technology companies, the likes of Stripe, eBay, Spotify. They have formed a consortium, they have built a reserve backed by real money, and they are trying to create a digital currency. This is the kind of technological advancements or disruption that is taking place in the finance sector. Imagine if this becomes a success. All the other technology giants will follow suit. What is the benefit of such a currency for us? As a nation who depends on a lot of remittances by our loved ones who are working overseas, have to pay hectic transaction fees, could be as high as 7%. So a global cryptocurrency or a digital currency will completely eliminate the transactional fees or lower that significantly. Business process management. Sensors, these circuits, these inexpensive programmable circuits, has made it possible for us to take business process management to the next step. IoT, it's nothing but a small circuit, a programmable chip, equipped with a programmable chip, where you can measure things, where you can listen into the real world and make decisions. So this IoT has become your eyes and ears on the ground. So for any BPM, a business process management practitioner, you can make use of these advancements in technologies. These are fancy words, but these are really simple equipment that are within your reach. Take a warehouse, you can gain full visibility with the use of these IoT or these small sensor devices, which gives you the ability to measure things in real time, performance in real time, and then act on it. In absence of IoT, we are basically becoming reactive. So you are latent, you are late to react. Right now we are going through an era where we are seeing like a significant data-driven, analytics-driven growth trajectory. There are enormous opportunities in the private sector, as well as in government, state-owned enterprises, for us to transform ourselves, to make use of these technologies, to push ourselves to the next level. So all this sounds like very wishful thinking, like very forward-looking, like utopian-like at times. This is where the entrepreneurship comes. We need to develop a new breed of employees, new breed of personnel who are capable in these analytical skills, quantitative skills, research skills, and then take up these challenging opportunities. But what about the existing traditional organizations, government institutes? This is where we need entrepreneurs. We need our students, our colleagues to play an entrepreneurial role, challenge the status quo, chart down uncharted territories, and venture into these newer areas. Think afresh, think anew. This very conference itself is an endeavor. I see that as an entrepreneurial endeavor. especially to form a business unit, faculty of business unit in a university which is very well known, renowned for its engineering capabilities. I see that as an entrepreneurial effort. So all of you are gathered here who are presenting at this conference. I would like to invite you all to think about this. Think as entrepreneurs. Think as entrepreneurs, and help us push the nation towards the next level. On that note, I'd like to conclude my presentation. I wish all the very success for all the delegates who will be presenting in this conference. Thank you.